Yes, you can start.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to the 6th Majlis of the English Ashra series. First off, I would like to invite Brother Imran to recite a few verses of the Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم القارعة ما القارعة وما أدراك ما القارعة يوم يكون الناس كالفراش المبثوث وتكون الجبال كالإهن المنفوش فأما من ثقلت موازينه فهو في عيشة راضية وأما من خفت موازينه فأمها هاوية وما أدراك ما هي نار حامية صدق الله العلي العظيم.
MashaAllah. Thank you, Imran. Now, I would like to invite Brother Sayyid Abbas Raza to recite the Salam.
سواء اللهم صل على محمد
Muhammad.
असगर को लेके गोद में कहती है करबला ये वो अली है जिसको कभी घर नहीं मिला ये वो अली है जिसको कभी घर नहीं मिला मासूम थी ढलता है दिन हो रही है शाम झूले में लौट आएगा शायद वो तिश्न काम लेकिन गजब हुआ कि वो झूला भी जल गया ये वो अली है जिसको कभी घर नहीं मिला ये वो अली है जिसको कभी घर नहीं मिला मादर ये बहन करती थी दिल में है ये कसक सुगरा तुम्हारी गोद से आगोश खबर तक असगर को मौत ने कहीं रुकने नहीं दिया ये वो अली है जिसको कभी घर नहीं मिला गलियों में शहर कूफा की बाजार शाम में शीरीं के घर कभी कभी दरबार शाम में मरने के बाद अली अली असगर सफर में था ये वो अली है जिसको कभी घर नहीं मिला ये वो अली है जिसको कभी घर नहीं मिला नन्हे से सर को यास से बस तकते रहते थे फिर खूं के रोके सैयदे सजाद ये कहते थे मैं वो अली हूँ जिसका भरा घर उजड़ गया ये वो अली है जिसको कभी घर नहीं मिला जाने लगा वतन जो गरीबों का कारवां मुड़ मुड़ के कहते जाते थी एक खाली गोद माँ रखियो संभाल कर इसे ए अर्ज़ नैनवा ये वो अली है जिसको कभी घर नहीं मिला डर है ये फिर से कोई सीना पर उठा न ले लिपटा हुआ है अब भी वो सीने से बाप के रो रो के कह रही है तकल्लुम ये करबला ये वो अली है जिसको कभी घर नहीं मिला सलाम
Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. MashaAllah. Thank you, Abbas. Now, I would like to welcome Maulana Sayyid Ali Radhavi for tonight's lecture. Please welcome him with a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Wajil farajahum.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بفضل الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا رسول الله وعلى أهل بيتك المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين وحجته على العالمين الحجة ابن الحسن فداه أرواح العالمين صلى الله عليك يا مولاي وابن مولاي يا أبا عبد الله وعلى المستشهدين بين يديك والسبايا من آل بيتك لعن الله الظالمين لكم من الأولين والآخرين يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله اللهم لعنهم جميعا السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائه عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليك سيدي وعلى آبائك الطاهرين وأولادك المنتجبين ورحمة الله وبركاته. ورد في زيارة أصحاب الحسين عليه السلام: السلام عليكم يا أنصار الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة الزهراء، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله. When we look at how Imam al-Hussein's companion actually used to be loyal to Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, we have to study the life, to understand and to comprehend and to realize how they reached that level of loyalty towards the Imam. So even when Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam told them, اتخذوا هذا الليل جملا, take the night time as a camel and ride that camel and just leave me alone. And if you want to tell me that we paid allegiance to you, O Aba Abdullah, we won't do such thing because you have right upon us, I will tell you no. قد رفعت البيعة من أعناقكم. I will dismiss this allegiance. Just go. Some scholars might say that Imam al-Hussein wanted to test his companions, but maybe this is not the situation. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam actually really wanted to lift the obligation from their shoulders. You can go. You were with me until now, and that's it. Yes, you're not gonna be with me up to the end of my life, but you were with me until now, and that's okay. However, they did not accept that, and they stood up and started to talk. Some of them said, "Oh, Aba Abdullah, we wish that we get killed and revive, killed and revive for 1,000 times. And then we will stay with you." And the other one said, "Oh, Aba Abdullah, if there were no hereafter, it was only the dunya, I would have still stay with you." Why? Because you are the haqq. It's not only about heaven and hell, no. It's about the reality, the haqq, the fact. You represent Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will stay with you. It's not about reaching heaven or avoiding hell. As Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam stated, Ilahi, ma abadtuka khawfan min narik, wala tama'an fi jannatik, walakinni ra'aytuka ahlan lil ibadati fa'abadtuk. Oh Allah, I did not worship you because I fear hellfire, or I want to gain heaven. No. But I saw you as the God that I have to worship you. That's why I have decided to worship you. If someone has got that mentality, he won't actually look for thawab. He will look for what is appropriate, even if it's harder. But this is appropriate, he will go with that. He doesn't care. Ashab al-Hussein alayhi salam actually reached that position, that they say, we wish to get killed with you, even if we know that there is no hereafter. That's it. This is life. The most enjoyable thing in this life is to get killed with you, O Aba Abdullah subhanahu wa ta'ala, salamullahi alayk. It's an honor. So how they reached that position? وَكَأَيٍّ مِّن نَبِيٍّ قَاتَلَ مَعَهُ رِبِّيُّونَ كَثِيرُونَ فَمَا وَهَنَ. Allahu Akbar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, we have too many prophets that their followers stood with them firmly, fought against the enemy firmly, without showing any weakness. In Ahlul Bayt narrations, we can find that some of Ahlul Bayt implement this verse upon companions of Imam al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi. Yes, فَمَا وَهَنَ. They did not show any weakness. Some of them used to go and enter the battlefield. And before that, he told Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, I wish to protect you with my sword and my spears and my arrows. If I lose all of that, oh Abu Abdullah, I will fight with my bare hand to protect you no matter what happens. No matter what happens. There were two people from the tribe of Ghaffar, Bani Ghaffar. They came to Abu Abdullah. Apparently, they were from same tribe. He said, would you give us the permission to go to fight? Abu Abdullah said, yes, of course. That's protocol, how nice it is. They know it's a battlefield. They know they are allowed. But every single step, they wanted to ask Abu Abdullah, do you accept us to go? He said, yes. And then they started to cry. Imam al-Hussein looked at them and told them, why you are crying? Inna al-jannata wallah. By the name of Allah, I swear by Allah, it's heaven. They replied, we are not crying for ourselves, but we are crying because even if we sacrifice our soul in your way, we won't be able to protect you and protect your progeny, O Abu Abdullah. And Abu Abdullah al-Hussein started to cry. They brought tears to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein eyes. How loyal they are. How loyal they are. And they went, they got killed. They went, they got killed. How they reached that position? You know, some of Imam al-Hussein's companions used to be very famous people, very famous, very decent people, reciter of Quran, knowledgeable people, very. Habib ibn Mudahir, it's written on his tomb, كنت تختم القرآن في ليلة. Sometimes you use to recite the whole Quran in one night. This is Habib ibn Mudahir. And that's possible. Let's say that in winter time, longer nights. And for instance, is it easy for you to recite 2000 Surah Al-Nanzalnah in one night? Yes, because you know it. You take the Sibha and recite 2000 Nanzalnah. It's not that hard. So if someone recites Quran every day, substantial amount of Quran he recites every day, it's going to be very easy for him. He will see the first part of the verse, he will recite in his head. He was an old man, more than 90 years old. Imam al-Hussein actually spread the flags amongst his companions and progeny, and he kept the flag aside. They asked him, "Oh, Abu Abdullah, that flag, it's a good flag, because it shows the status of that who wants to carry it." Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, حامل اللواء. Al-liwa, it means the big flag, the most important flag. He said he will come. The owner of that flag will come. And Habib ibn Mudahir made it in the last 3-4 days. He made it to Karbala. It was very hard for him to make it. He was sitting with his wife, eating. And his wife, something happened. His wife said, "We will have a good news." And suddenly the door was knocked. Habib ibn Mudahir went and then came back. And said, "Sadaqat al-hurra, you were right." She said, "What's happening? Tell me." He replied, "It's a letter from Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. La tuqassir fi nasrina." Oh Habib, come and help us. Come and help us. Then Habib wanted to test his wife. He replied, "I was with Amir al-Mu'mineen. I was with Imam al-Hassan. I'm an old guy. Why should I go? I only have a few days left in this life." His wife stood up and told him, "If you don't want to go, I will wear my abaya and go and protect the grandson of the Prophet." He cried. He said, "I wanted to see this face from you. That's what I expect from you." Allahu Akbar. And he went. It was very hard for him to make it to Karbala, but he made it. When he made it, of course, how we say that when companions of Imam al-Hussein saw Habib, they started to say, "Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad." They were very happy. They saluted Habib. So ladies heard that something is happening. Lady Zainab asked Imam al-Hussein, "What's happening?" He said, "This is Habib ibn Mudahir. He came to join our camp." Imam al-Hussein said, Lady Zainab told Imam al-Hussein, "Convey my regards to Habib and tell him, إياك هيهات لا تقصر في نصرة هذا القريب." Try to do your best to protect Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, to help him. Imam al-Hussein went and conveyed the message of Lady Zainab to Habib. And Habib started to cry and started to grab a bunch of the soil and put it in his head and said, "Man ana, who am I that to be deserved that the salute of Lady Zainab to reach me? Who am I?" And then after a while, he told Abu Abdullah, "Would you give me a permission to go and salute Lady Zainab?" He said, "Yes." He stood up. When he stood up, everyone stood up, even Bani Hashim. He asked Bani Hashim, "Please sit down. It's not your turn, it's our turn." So Habib was the leader of Imam al-Hussein's companions. He was the leader, head of them. He went and started to salute Lady Zainab. "Assalamu alaikum ya hara'ir al-risala." Peace be upon you, O granddaughters of the Prophet and prophethood. Risala means prophethood. هذه أسياف غلمانكم. These are the swords of your slaves. أبوا أن يغمدوها إلا في نحور أعدائكم. We won't put it back, but in the neck of your enemy. Sleep calmly while we are alive. Nothing will happen to you. And that's a lot. That's a lot. So how? They reached فَمَا وَهَنْ. Allahu Akbar. Sometimes you see people defend. I don't want to give you examples because we have to respect everyone, even those companions who are not on the top level of Iman. But some of them used to go, not amongst companions of Imam al-Hussein, no. Some others used to go, but you know, they were not that happy. Yeah, we have to do it. We don't have any other choice. Otherwise, we would choose the other option. But as for Ashab al-Imam al-Hussein, فَمَا وَهَنُوا. They did not show any weakness on that battle. And that's why when we stand before their graves, what we say, Assalamu alaikum ya Ansar Allah. Assalamu alaikum ya Ansar Rasulullah. You're not only companions of Imam al-Hussein, you are companions of the Prophet, companions of the Commander of the Faithful, companions of Lady Fatima. If you were there on that day, you would have protected her. You are the man. Assalamu alaikum ya Ansar Ali Muhammad al-Hassan. And allow me to open the bracket. Most of Imam al-Hussein's companions used to be Imam al-Hassan's companions. So Imam al-Hassan actually, as well, behaved them, disciplined them. Assalamu alaikum ya Ansar Abu Muhammad al-Hassan. And then Assalamu alaikum ya Ansar Abu Abdullah. So, what was so special about them? At last, whether they help Imam al-Hussein or refrain, Imam al-Hussein would have been killed. Correct. However, to die in the right path with all of your progeny and with all of your companion will show to the world that your revolution was a strong, solid, sacred revolution. So this or these people helped the revolution of Ashura to be comprehended by all people around the globe correctly. So they were not only, as they called, Siyahi Lashkar. You know, when they make movie, you have important actors, and then you have people that you only need them for the movie. They were not like that. They participated in Imam al-Hussein's revolution. Participated. And that's important. Too many prophets and Ahlul Bayt apply this. Of course, Imam al-Hussein wasn't a prophet, but he was a grandson of the Prophet. قاتل معه ربيون كثيرون فما وهنوا. Imam Sadiq applies and implement this verse upon Imam al-Hussein and his companions. فما وهنوا. They did not run away from death. And actually that person who looked at the sky and said, "Oh, Abu Abdullah, it's Dhuhr time. And I'd like to pray Dhuhr with you." And then they said, "Okay, ask the enemy to stop the war so we can pray." And then one of the enemies said, "Inna salat la tuqbal minka ya Hussein." Allah will not accept your prayer. And Habib ibn Mudahir shouted, إن الصلاة لا تقبل من الحسين وتقبل منك يا خمار. Do you think that you who drink alcohol, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept your salat and you won't accept the praise of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam? Shame on you. And then Imam al-Hussein salamullah alayhi started the prayer. They made a shield in front of Imam al-Hussein. One of his companions stood up and he put his chest as shield for Imam al-Hussein. And they started to arrow Imam al-Hussein. Arrow after arrow came and reached the body of that companion. And when Imam al-Hussein finished his prayer, صلى بهم صلاة الخوف. 2 rak'ah or 1 rak'ah. He prayed. It's called Salat al-Khawf. He fell down. And he told Imam al-Hussein, our fate, did I fulfill my promise, O Abu Abdullah? Imam al-Hussein cried and replied to him, Anta amami fil jannah. You will enter heaven before me. Take this. Anta amami fil jannah. We have to call him Shaheedul Salat. He was killed for the prayer of Imam al-Hussein. And do you know what I mean? When we stand before the grave of Imam al-Hussein, said, Ashhadu annaka qad aqamta as-salat. This man has participated in this phrase. So every time, every prophet, every successor of prophets, every angel, every mu'min and believer, read this phrase, is actually mentioning that man as well and praising that man as well. There were strong people, tough people. And that's why Umar ibn Sa'd, when he looked at the companion of Imam al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi, he told his army, do you know you are fighting lions? Don't go with normal rules of fighting. Fight back viciously. Because any war has got a rule, even back then. Even back then. Fight back viciously. And they started to arrow. It's unethical to arrow fighters while you have swords. And while you are outnumbered them, you have to go and bravely fight them. But they were coward, filthy beasts. They were hyenas. And Lady Zainab mentioned that in her sermon in Sham. تنتابها أمهات الفراعل. Female hyenas attacked the camp of Hussein alayhi salam. Not even a male hyenas. Fara'il is female hyenas. And they stood up. They protected Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. So sometimes they used to attack with each other, with arrows, spears, swords, stones. Historians mention فَمَنْ جَلَتِ الْغَبْرَةِ إِلَّا عَلَى 50 صَرِيعٍ مِنْ أَصْحَابِ الْحُسَيْنِ. A fight happened, and when the dust settled, 50 of Imam al-Hussein's companions were on the ground. Allahu Akbar. Imam al-Hussein, when he looked that scene, that his companion are actually moving on the ground, dying, he cried. And he grabbed his beard and looked at the sky. قال اشتد غضب الله على اليهود حيث قالوا عزير ابن الله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got angry with Jewish when they say Uzair is son of Allah. واشتد غضب الله على النصارى حيث قالوا المسيح ابن الله. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got angry with Christians when they say Al-Masih is son of Allah. وَاشْتَدَّ غَضَبُ اللَّهِ عَلَىٰ أُمَّةٍ اتَّفَقَتْ كَلِمَتُهُمْ عَلَىٰ قَتْلِ ابْنِ بِنْتِ نَبِيٍّ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got even more angry with a nation that all of them with each other decided with one voice to kill the grandson of the Prophet. Their Prophet. Ibn binti Nabiyihim. Their Prophet. So, it's very hard to gather everyone to vote as one vote. But all of them voted as one vote to kill Al-Imam Hussein. That's why they actually picture the battlefield of Karbala by this poem, Arabic poem, that ما خلوه حسين يشوف دربه عليه ترادف الضرب على ضربه. They didn't let Imam al-Hussein to look at his way. Imam al-Sadiq said كانت تأتي الضربة على الضربة. The wound was a wound. The other sword would come to the same place because no one was able to find a space, a place on Imam al-Hussein's body that the enemy left it without attacking it. كانت تأتي الضربة على الضربة. So they were so thirsty to kill Imam al-Hussein. But why? But why? Why we call Imam al-Hussein Gharib al-Ghuraba? Because he was Gharib al-Ghuraba. But he died with dignity, with his companions, with his progeny. And you cannot find a war amongst history, and it will not happen again, a war that the leader and all of his companions and all of his progeny, a sacred leader, a sacred war, get killed in the way of Allah to protect the religion. But Imam Hussein did it with his progeny and with his companions. So we need to study. Of course, we don't have too much time, but we need to study how they reached that position and that status, so we can follow their footsteps. It wasn't simply reciting Quran, no. It wasn't simply going to Hajj, no. It wasn't simply praying, no. That's good, but it's not only that. Actually, one word probably can explain companions of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. They gave their hearts to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Oh, Abu Abdullah, take our hearts. Our mind is with you. Our intellect is with you. Our soul is with you. As we recite in Ziyarat al-Nahiya and say, إن لم يجبك بدني عند استغاثتك فقد أجابك عقلي مخي عظمي دمي يدي بشري. If I was not there to answer your call, my mind, my hand, my blood, my heart, everything I possess will say to you, لبيك يا حسين. And this is important. They were like that. When Imam Hussein used to tell them, do this, that's it. Then I'm going to think about it. Because they know that Imam al-Hussein is ma'soom. He's infallible. He won't actually drag them from the right path and put them in the wrong path. They were like that. And that's why they sacrificed themselves to Imam al-Hussein. Let me wrap up. You have heard the name of Muslim ibn Awsaja. This is a very great man. This man is a very great man. He went and fought, and he fell down. Imam al-Hussein walked with Habib ibn Mudahir and Ali al-Akbar and reached him. And Ali al-Akbar, salamullahi alayhi, and Habib ibn Mudahir, probably Habib said, Basharakal, Abshir bil Jannat ya Muslim ibn Awsajah. Yeah, you're going to enter heaven before us. Muslim ibn Awsajah replied, Basharakallah bil khair. Basharakallah bil khair. And then Habib said, Oh Muslim, I know I will get killed in a few moments. Otherwise, I would have asked you to tell me whatever you like, if you want. He said, actually, I have one thing to tell you. He said, what? If I can do it, for sure I'm going to do it. Habib replied. He pointed at to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam and told him, لا تقصر في نصرة هذا الدين. Do as much as you can for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And he passed away. Allahu Akbar. نصروك أحياء وعند مماتهم يوصي بنصرتك الحبيب حبيبا. أوصى ابن عوسجة حبيبا قال قاتل دونه حتى الحمام تذوقا. Fight and protect Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. They were alive, they protected Imam al-Hussein. In their last breath, they actually asked others to protect Imam al-Hussein, because every single breath, every single breath Imam al-Hussein breathed, salamullahi alayhi, it's a rahmah and mercy of Allah, even if it's a single breath. Even if it's a single breath. So, and then Habib ibn Mudahir as well. Allahu Akbar. They killed him and they beheaded him, and they throw the head of Habib to the tent of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Just imagine Imam al-Hussein is standing and looking at the battlefield, and suddenly he watches the head of Habib salamullahi alayhi being thrown to the tent. How hard it is for Imam al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi. It was a couple of hours when Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam looked to his right side and looked to his left side to see no one is alive. Not Abbas, not Ali al-Akbar, not Habib ibn Mudahir. He shouted, Ya ashab al-Safa wa ya fursan al-Hayja, Mali unadikum fala تجيبوا وأدعوكم فلا تنتبهوا أنيام أرجوكم تنتبهون. Oh, people of battlefield, how come when I call you for help, you don't stand up? أم حالت منيتكم دون نصرة إمامكم. Or you passed away, that's why you cannot protect me and help me. قوموا من نومتكم يا كرايا وادفعوا عن حرم الرسول اللئام الطغاة اللئام. Wake up and come back and protect the progeny of the Prophet, granddaughters of the Prophet. لما رأى السبط أصحاب الوفا قتلوا نادى أبا الفضل أين الفارس البطل وأين من دوني الأرواح قد بدلوا بالأمس كانوا معي واليوم قد رحلوا وخلفوا في سويد القلب نيرانا. And then Imam Hussein started to call their names one by one. My brother Abbas, my son Ali, Habibi, Habib, Ya Muslim ibn Awsaja, wake up to look at your leader. He's standing in front of his stand slowly, and the enemy are looking at him so thirsty to shed his blood. رحم الله من قال وغريب يا أبا عبد الله. لكنما المرجع لله. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا واجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه وشيعته يا أرحم الراحمين. والحمد لله رب العالمين. وصل اللهم على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I would now like to invite Brother Ahmed Hussein to recite the Noha.
Hussain, 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 Hussain.
no Muhammad mere, no Muhammad
Muhammad mere, no Muhammad, no Muhammad mere, no Muhammad.
दुनिया को कटकने लगे तो फूल से छिड़े इंसानों के सीनों में थे पटक कलेजे तलवारों से ने दोस्त किए तुम पे जो हमले
Muhammad mere,
Muhammad दोनों है शीदान वफा और मोहम्मद इस्लाम के मकसद की बका और मोहम्मद माँ करती है लाशों पे रो शुक्र की सजदे मोहम्मद Muhammad भाई कोई आलम मुझे दे नहीं जाता ये आलम मोहम्मद का नवासा तुम होती तो फोटो को बहुत दूर भगाते Muhammad 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 اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم.
MashaAllah. Thank you, Imam Hussain. We would now like to thank everyone who joined us tonight, and we'll now conclude the Majlis with the ziyarat. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya Ibna Rasulullah. Assalamu alayka ya Ibna Amir al-Mu'mineen. Assalamu alayka ya Ibna Fatima al-Zahra. Assalamu alayka ya Abul Fazl Abbas. Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alayka ya Gharib al-Ghuraba. Assalamu alayka ya Ali ibn Musa Riza. Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alayka ya Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. Assalamu alayka ya Imam al-Insi wal Jan. Assalamu alayka ya Sharik al-Quran. Alaman, alaman, alaman. Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraj.